What's going on, guys? It's me, JV, coming to you live this Friday morning on this February the 2nd, 2024, and I am back here in the U.S. after spending 2 weeks on vacation down in Mexico. And the contrast in the weather could not be more felt. It is cold here. It's been raining. It's damp. It's been raining since Wednesday, and I'm feeling the effects of the change in weather. So I'm trying to hang in there. But anyway, as the topic says on my video here, I just wanted to talk about the upcoming election, the presidential election, the general election that's going to be taking place 9 months from now. And it looks to me, based on the polls, based on the analytics for both 538 and Real Clear Politics, that Donald Trump has this in the bag. Looks like he is indeed going to go back to the White House beginning in January 20th, 2025, because the polls are coming out. One poll after the other has Donald Trump leading Joe Biden in a head-to-head matchup and some of the key swing states. And he also leads Joe Biden when you include other candidates, independent candidates, third-party candidates. The margin of victory for Donald Trump doesn't really change, doesn't fluctuate too much. So it seems to me like this election, even though we're 9 months away from the actual election and a lot can change, but I've been tracking these polls on the two websites for the last 2 to 3 months, and it really hasn't changed much. Pretty much every poll from reputable pollsters, other not so reputable pollsters, but they all have one thing in common, and that is that Donald Trump is leading in some of the key states. The general vote, the popular vote doesn't matter at all. I don't pay too much attention to that, because the election ultimately is going to come down to about 6 states. 6 states are going to decide the election, and about 5 out of those 6 states, Donald Trump is leading in the polls. And like I mentioned, it hasn't changed much. If you look, for example, in the 2020 results in Pennsylvania and as well as Michigan, Joe Biden actually won Michigan by about 155,000 votes, and he won Pennsylvania by about 81,000 votes, about 80,500 votes. So the question here is whether or not Donald Trump is going to be able to swing about 155,000 votes in Michigan, and about, I'd say, as I mentioned, about 85,000 votes in Pennsylvania, because Joe Biden has to win those 3 states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, in order to get reelected. He absolutely has to win those 3 states. He has no margin of error. If he loses either of those 3 states, it's going to be very difficult to win reelection, because, as I mentioned, I'd say about 44 out of the 50 states have already been decided one way or the other. And you got 2 districts. The 2nd district in Nebraska, it's up in the air. And also the 2nd district in Maine is also going to be very disputed. In 2020, if you recall, Joe Biden actually won the 2nd district in Nebraska, and Donald Trump won the 2nd district in Maine. So those are going to be up for grabs. And those 2 separate electoral college votes are going to be crucial, if you can believe that, because there is a scenario where both candidates get 269 electoral college votes, believe it or not. But according to the polls, as I mentioned, it looks to me like Donald Trump has a clear path to winning the election. All he has to do is win either Michigan or Wisconsin or Nevada, and he basically pretty much locks up the presidential re-election and gets back to the White House in 2025. And right now, Joe Biden's ratings, Joe Biden's approval rating, that is not very good. It's hovering between 35 to 40%. A lot of the young voters are very disillusioned with Joe Biden's or the Biden administration's handling of the economy and foreign policy. And I don't see how that's going to shift. I don't think how that's going to turn around in 9 months. Not to mention the fact that a lot of the Palestinian American voting bloc in Michigan, which is substantial, it accounts for about 1 to 2%. They're not going to come out and vote at all. They're going to stay at home because they feel betrayed by Joe Biden. So if he doesn't win Michigan, he's done. He's finished, like I mentioned, Joe Biden. But the question is going to be, is it possible to swing that many votes? Can you swing over 88,000 or 80,000 votes in Michigan, and actually 154,000 votes in Michigan and about 81,000 in Pennsylvania? That's really going to be the question, whether or not Donald Trump can swing that many votes for those two states. He only needs one, like I mentioned, one state to win the election. So I think Georgia has pretty much been decided. I think it's going to go back to being red. I don't think there's any contest in North Carolina. I think that state is also going to go red. I think that Virginia and New Hampshire are going to go blue. I don't think that's and Minnesota, same thing. Those states pretty much are going to go blue. So you're looking at Nevada, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, and those two districts that I mentioned, Nebraska, 2nd district in Nebraska, 2nd district in Maine, that are going to decide this election. That it comes down to those 5 states basically, and whoever wins, well, Biden has to almost run the table. He has to win Pennsylvania. He has to win Michigan, Wisconsin, and Nevada, or he has to win Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona, and Nevada in order to win re-election. So he almost has to run the table. Trump is at a advantage because all he has to do is just win one of those 2 states or 5 states, or win 2 out of those 5 states, and he becomes president. So I think the table is set for Donald Trump to get reelected. I don't think the criminal trials are going to affect him. I don't think the Supreme Court is going to overturn. Actually, it's going to confirm the decision at the Colorado Supreme Court. So he will probably be on the ballot for the remainder of the primaries and also in the general election. And it's just, I think these two are going to be competing in a rematch in the month of November. But I don't see how Joe Biden gets reelected based on the numbers, based on the analysis, based on the disillusioned voting blocks that Joe Biden needs, like the young voters and the Arabic American voters, particularly in Michigan, in order to win re-election. I don't see how, without those voting blocks, Joe Biden has no shot, really. Even though I think a lot of women are going to come out and support Biden because of the reproductive rights, but that may not be enough for him to win re-election. So I just wanted to give a brief analysis. I was curious when I looked at the polls, and I've been looking at them on a weekly basis, and they haven't shifted much, and they haven't changed. 9 out of the 10 polls that come out have Donald Trump in the lead by a substantial margin in these swing states. Anyway, just wanted to give my opinion, my commentary, and off I go to my next assignment. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will catch you on the next video. Thank you.